here from Brekenridge, Colorado for the 2020 Vision Show, and excited. I've got an amazing guest to join us tonight, the Dr. Ty Clase. So we're going to get our little promo going, and we'll be rolling here in just a second. Hey, it's Dr. Ty Clase.
Still feels weird after all these years.
To be called Dr. Ty?
It does.
Well, you got to start getting used to that, bro, because you've been a doctor now for how many years now?
This will be going into my, 4.5 years. So I'm going to be celebrating 5 here in May.
Wow. The Ohio State University.
That's it. Go Bucks.
Love it. Well, for everybody to know, we got Ty on tonight. This is our second show. I've committed Ty to 52 weeks of this. I just feel like the Lord has asked me to tell the story, and been doing it for a while. So it's 2020. What a great year to put it out there, and love having you on. Just so everybody knows that one of the main reasons I have Ty on one of the main reasons is because he's such a huge part of the Jamaica story. And hey, there we go. I'm so glad Dorothy's on tonight. That's Rhonda's mom. Hey, Doro. She's a huge part of the story too, by the way. We're gonna have to have Dorothy on one of these shows. But
you got 52 weeks to fill, right?
Exactly. I got over 52 names.
Oh, nice.
But with one of the main reasons we're doing having Dr. Clase on tonight is because I'm in Brekenridge, Colorado, and I'm at his wife's Laura's her parents' condo. Ty introduced us to Colorado back in the years back. I don't know how many that is. I think it's like 4 years ago. We came out as a family, and
probably maybe even 15 maybe
2015.
Yeah, I think so.
I should know. I do have something fun though. Hey, Ken Walls, you know what? This is great, but I'm going to show you this. I think I've got it in my my gig here. I think it'll pop up. This is one of our original trips. I don't know how to really do that right.
Man. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know if I go single. Yeah. How about that?
I like seeing Wayne back there.
You got Ringo back there, right?
Right there.
That was our initial trip. And there's your son, Chich, right?
That's it. Him in the front. Yeah. He's grown a foot since then.
Exactly. So good memories, and so I'm bringing the show to you right here from their condo, second floor. Love this room, Ty. It's really awesome. So
almost ski in, ski out. Close.
It's close, man. It's close. So Ty, you've got an amazing story. Inside of our story, you've got an amazing story that we want to hear about tonight, because that's what the show is about. It's about bringing people that are a part of our story into your story into the big story. So we were talking about, how is it you first got connected to Jamaica?
Yeah, so it was, I mentioned to you a little bit before while we spoke, it's been 16 years, believe it or not. It's hard to believe. But my stepsister and her husband, they were they were leaders of the youth group at a church that we eventually ended up going together, which who would have known all these years later, through the Tony's ministry. But anyways, they were the youth leaders at the time. And we went to Jamaica. My brother-in-law knew you through, I think, a lot of the church basketball, softball. Any of those leagues, since you were with the Nazarene Church there in Marion. Yeah. He knew you, and he knew you had a mission, or, had groups that would come down. Yep. And so my sister was going, and, believe it or not, the crazy thing is that I think back to it, even as I'm speaking about it, I was supposed to go to Austria on that ticket. That airline ticket was for me to go to Austria to visit a friend, and she ended up not having she felt homesick. So she actually dropped short of her trip. So, I mean, this is back in the day before, internet based stuff really. And it was, hey, what am I going to do with this airline fare? Greta, my sister, said, why don't you come to Jamaica with us? And so I turned that Austrian European trip into a Jamaican trip, which now, and it's turned my life into everything that I have. It's hard to believe that I could have went to Salzburg, Austria for a week, or the next 16 years become an eye doctor. And I mean, I hate to say it that way, but it's true. I mean, it really is something simple as that. So yeah, came down as chaperone and spent that week over, it was the week right after Christmas. So like New Year's week from 2003 into 2004 there with you and your ministry. Very first time I ever met you really was there.
Crazy. Ken's in there talking about your relationship with Tom and Kathy. I mean, Tom and Kathy are going to be on the show at some point. They're a big part.
Oh,
so didn't you come up underneath their youth ministry of sorts?
Yeah. So I was in their youth ministry. And then after they left to go, I think they went down to Oklahoma. And when they left, my stepsister and her husband are the ones that took over. I don't know if it was right away, but it pretty much was a transition. But yeah, it's crazy how full circle it comes around.
You got fans down here too, Ty.
I see. Yeah.
Taxi girls.
Casey and Nick.
Yeah.
Nice.
They wouldn't be here if you wouldn't been here, if you would have done what you done,
And we're grateful for their service. That's for sure. I mean, it's such a huge blessing down there to the people of Jamaica, and obviously to you as with the business and stuff. I mean, it couldn't go otherwise, because all of us doctors coming in and out, it just can't. It couldn't. It needed somebody there, and I'm grateful for them. Yeah.
Wow. So let's go back now. So here you are. You come down on a Restoration Tabernacle. Was that name back then? Now the modern day Family Life Church with Tom and Kathy. Yep. I don't know if they're watching this, but hey, just to say, everybody, if you're on here right now, like Terry, could you share this? Ken, would you share it? I mean, everybody that's on, if you could share this out to your friends, that way maybe Tom and Kathy might pop on and see it too. But you come up through their ministry and you come down on the mission trip. And then the next thing I know, and I don't remember it exactly, but I remember either Chuck Daniel asking me or someone asking me, would I want this guy Ty to come and spend a summer with us?
I think I caught you, actually. I think, I don't know whether it was on the trip itself or like right after it, you being in Marion still. That would have been my senior year of college. And so I knew I was going to Bible school the very next fall, and I didn't have any plans for the entire summer. And so I think I either trapped you or I caught you somehow. I was like, what this, like, I would have been, I'd been 21, 22. And it was like, what's this random person saying they want to come down and, do a week? It's like, you were so open. You were game for anything all the time. It seems like now that I know you more, it's like, yeah, whatever. Hey, we'll make it work. It's like, I don't know where you're going to stay. I don't know what you're going to do, but come on down.
Right.
So that's the short end of it. I caught you and I said, hey, I don't have anything to do in between essentially college to Bible school. Mm-hmm. And I came down for the whole month of June. If I remember correctly, which, as we get into more stories, is right in the thick of hurricane season. And that'll play into the next year that I came down.
Exactly. So was that the year that you built the play set for us, or was that?
Yeah. So again, randomly, why would this, I just wanted the experience. I did fall in love. I'll be honest. I fell in love with Jamaica that first trip. All it took was that 1 week over New Year's. Going, you had that picture of Wayne. Him and I are very good friends. Yeah. And I think back the very first trip there, he showed up at the Mission Retreat Center, I believe is what it was called there in Mandeville.
The Vision Retreat Center.
And he had, that's it. And he had a bag of mutton and a bag of chicken, just random, I carried this on the bus and I'm going to make dinner for you guys. And I think it was like brothers at first sight. And so him and I have stayed very good friends and really love him to death. But anyways, it was that trip that I did fall in love. I mean, I love Jamaica. You know it. I love Jamaica. I love being down there. I love the food. I love the culture. I love the people. I love everything.
Yeah.
And so it was from that first trip that then it was like, man, I can't get enough of this. And that's what made me want to come back in June, obviously, of that next year. It's like, hey, if there's any way I can get down here, have an experience, whatever, I got to make it happen. And that's why I hit you up so hard. But yeah, that first trip, you filled me in. I mean, I think I painted your curb of your house. I painted rooms in your house.
Yeah.
I built a play set for the kids. And that's what, thinking
Huge.
back, I mean, Max would have been 3, 4
Yeah.
max. And Griff would have been, was he a couple years older? So, I mean, you know, all the kids, I don't even, Kylo, she would have been born already, right?
Yeah. She'd just be like a little baby walking, running around
newborn.
the floor.
Yeah. And I think that's why we built that play set, is because, oh, hey, here's something for the kids to swing on and play on.
Yeah. It was a huge help for us. You know, when you're a missionary, which we really were back then, having someone come down and do the things I couldn't do, like build a play set, that's not in my, that is not in my game. And so it was just like a godsend when you came. And, you know, then, you know, that same house, then I think that if I'm doing years right, that would be like 2004, 2005.
Yeah.
And Hurricane Ivan comes, tears the roof off of our house. And then we had
all that work I put in.
Yeah.
It was all like,
gone.
I think you said the jungle gym ended up down in the tennis court. I mean, it was gone.
Yeah, it was like tornadoes came through that strip, you know, because we're up in the mountains. And then we're living in the Vision Retreat Center. And I'm trying to get back to Jamaica, and you're down there with my family again. Like, I think all I know is that I came in and me and you were throwing sandbags trying to keep the water out of the Vision Retreat Center on the second hurricane.
And that was the next year. Yeah. So the first year was, I don't know timing wise when it was, but I remember my aunt and uncle's names, Cindy and Dennis, and it was Hurricane Cindy and Hurricane Dennis that hit back to back.
Wait a minute. The 2 hurricanes are like your aunt and your uncle or something?
Yeah, it's my aunt and her husband, Cindy and Dennis. And I remember that vividly, that those were the 2 hurricanes that came through there and just dumped it up in the mountains. And of course, the way that house was set, it was at the end of the road where all the water poured in. And I just remember, one, you couldn't get there right away.
Yeah. So
it was Rhonda and I and the kids, I think. And it was like, wow. You know, I just remember you being so grateful that somebody was there to help Rhonda sandbag or try to prepare. Because, I mean, that place was flooded out. The entire basement was filled. I mean, it was, 4 feet of water, maybe. I don't know. It was crazy. So hard to believe.
Here's someone for you, Sarah Eckert.
Yeah. Long time ago.
Long time work right there. Yeah. So we survived a couple hurricanes, you know, terrible time in the country back then. I mean, it was really rough. Just when we got over Ivan, those 2, your aunt and your uncle, came through. I did not know that your aunt and uncle came through and blew us around. But next thing I know, you know, we're developing the clinic by that time. We have the Mandeville office going, and you're still going. You going through business school. You got done with Bible college, and then next thing I remember is us being together in Marion, and you down in my basement, and we're talking about maybe what could you do, and I was like, well, I don't know. You want to go work for the nursing home business or something like that? How do you remember the one?
Yeah, you know, long story short, I spare all the details about my dad, but my dad has a business there in Marion, and I thought, hey, I'd come back from business school and from Bible school, and I'd work for him. And long story short, he did not have a position for me at the time.
Oh, yeah.
So that's where then I was doing odd and end jobs for you or for family or whatever. I think I painted the boys' room. So it's something about painting your house. It gets me a job.
Place set up too.
Yeah. So that's your place. And then we just started talking. We were in the basement, and that's when you were like, well, you went to college for business, right? Yeah. Oh, well, let's try something, or let's do something. So that's when you hired me for the mobile med. Well, actually, it might have been teching for professional eye care, but it morphed into the mobile side and the nursing home care fairly quickly. I didn't really work in your main office. It was more, hey, we're doing this, you know, logistically for going out on the road.
It's funny, you know, it just keeps going. I mean, we don't want to drag our story out, but there's just so much to it. So you're in the nursing home game with us, which was really for me, for our story, like, had I not been able to do the nursing home care, I would have never been able to do Jamaica professional eye care or mission of sight, really the way we do it now, because I was able to do like a month's work of work in the nursing homes and then come down to Jamaica and be with my family for 3 weeks. You know, I was like 3 weeks on in Ohio, 3 weeks in Jamaica. I was like kind of back and forth that game. And I remember you making a huge impact in like a lot of our model, just having your just, your work ethic and your talent and your drive and all that really a big help for what we were doing back then. So when did you get though the like the point where you got the call? Because, I'm going to put the call to the recovery aside, because you are one of those people that are absolutely called to the recovery aside. There's no question about it. And so how did that happen? Because people like to know that kind of stuff. I like to know it. I'd like to hear that one again.
Well, and that's the the God side of it that we sometimes forget or we don't give full credit to. Man, the big thing about that whole working for you is that I went from the standpoint of just business. I mean, I did not have any sciences. I never in a million years thought of optometry. I mean, it was all business. I saw a hole, and I think back when you had the nursing home care, I want to say it was like 60 or 80 homes at the beginning. And I mean, I only worked, the funny thing is I only worked for you for 11 months. I ended up working for you for 11 months. And by the time we were out of there, I think you were up to 250 homes in 11 months time. And so it morphed from being a tech and learning the business or the doctoring side to actually going into business development for you and growing more of the, nursing home. And it was through that, and I always look back on this and I'm like, I don't want to sound cocky because it was not like that at all.
Yeah.
But I remember shadowing Dr. Freeze.
Right.
And shadowing Dr. Freeze and like seeing him see all the patients and bring joy to the people's faces when they got their glasses, when they got, even just somebody talking to them when they're stuck in a nursing home for, the rest of their life.
Yeah.
I just remember seeing that joy that optometry could bring. And that's what sparked something in me. And going back, I mean, like I said, it was that trip to Jamaica at the very beginning, the connection with you, the connection with working. It's like all the dominoes were put together. Everything was put together just to be the God side of it, which a lot of times we don't give full recognition to know that, man, he is guiding our steps. He is watching us and directing us. And if we would just lend an ear. And I look back, and even to this day, my big thing is that I always say, God, just show me the next step. I don't need to know the whole picture. Just show me the next step. And I tell you what, looking back on it now, 16 years later, it's amazing how each step was revealed in small steps. And it's not done. It's not over. No. But that's how I ended up in optometry. Is I saw Dr. Freeze and I said, man, I could do that.
Yeah, he's not that good. I can do that.
And I needed like 15 classes. I'm, just dating a girl from Colorado. I'm in Ohio. I mean, it's like none of this stuff makes any sense whatsoever.
No.
And here we are from that time. I mean, that was 2006, 7. So here we are 13 years later.
Yeah.
And a doctor and working for a great ministry down there in Jamaica and working for myself out here in Colorado. And man, like I said, just God is so good. Absolutely.
Yeah. I remember you went back to school for 2 years doing classes, working in the accounting, the accounting firm, still engaged with us, and you were sweating it out. Then you get accepted to the Ohio State University.
The baby.
Yeah. And you move back to Marion. You commute from Marion, Ohio to the Ohio State University in Columbus for 4 straight years, like a 45-minute commute every day.
Yeah, that wasn't the hard part. The hard part was getting the Colorado girl out of Colorado to come to Ohio. That was the hard part of the whole story.
She's got this on her phone somewhere because, but this is what I want to say. Beside every great man is a great or even greater woman.
Agreed.
Because I hate that whole thing like behind or, I won't say in front, but beside. And you've got one. I mean, I've got mine in Rhonda, and you absolutely have one there in Laura. And Laura has been so helpful to Mission of Sight, professional eye care. She's done all our books. It's just crazy, really. If you really like doing this show right now is giving me like, this is wild. Like how
the story and the journey is amazing. It really is. And I mean, everybody wants to say like, oh, you just happen to be in the right place at the right time, and oh, it's luck and all that. No, man. I mean, there's too many pieces to this puzzle to just have it be, oh, it just happened. I mean, it really is. I mean, it took a lot of sacrifice. I mean, like you were saying, moving back to Marion, being that far away from campus, and and anybody that is in optometry, at least from the standpoint of Ohio State, they know that this is mean, it was a job. It was 50 to 60 hours a week. And it's not easy, but to commute down there, I mean, it was like a job. It was like I worked in Columbus.
Yeah.
I had a 1-year-old, newly married. I mean, there's a lot that really, when you look back on it, you're like, man, I didn't realize the sacrifice at the time. And it was hard because I didn't see my kid. I had a child while I was in school too. Laura had it, Addison. So it's like there was 4 years of there that was just intense studies. And I look back on it,
and Laura was going back and forth.
Like that.
Wasn't Laura going back and forth to Colorado too?
Yeah, that was the other sacrifice, was that she stayed as her tax accountant, and she worked from January, February, March, and April. She lived in Colorado, so I would go out about every month to try to visit her and see her. But she had the kids. She lived at her sister's or her parents, and again, just making what you need. Yeah, you have to be all in. You have to know that this is the call of God. You have to know that this is where He is directing you, because I don't think I would have made it otherwise. I just don't see it. I don't see how I would have if it hadn't been for the blessings that He provided while I was in Ohio.
Hey, I got to put a shout out to Ray Tremblay, down there you see that on there?
Oh yeah.
Ray was huge back in the mobile med days, professional eye care days, started up Westerville. Still, she works with Dr. Freeze now still.
Nice.
Like his, main manager, I think, in the Washington courthouse or something like that. So we still see Ray. I don't see her much anymore, but great to see you on there, Ray. When you look at your story, Ty, people, like you're saying, it's not like I say, I always call them God incidents. Like the integration of all the things that happen for you are not coincidence, and they're not luck. But there's another part that you are bringing up right here, and that's hitting me, is you guys have put some hard work and dedication and sacrifice into your family, into your life, and into your career. And I think in this day and age of like a lot of the social media hop and a lot of this hype and the things that are going on, that people just think you can just snap fingers, or you can do a post, you can do something, next thing you know, you're famous or you're rich or you're whatever. Dude, it takes a lot of work, and it takes a long time. We're doing a 20-year show here to get to where we're at. And you're 15 years in. So
true.
Good perspective for people to see that, it doesn't happen overnight, but it happens if you stay committed to what you got to do. And
Can I touch on that a little bit? You think about social media. I'm not the most social media person. I don't really care for technology all that much, just personal. But you think about, you see the glips along the way of like, okay, here's success, or, oh man, here's this next event. You don't see I don't want to say the dirty, but you don't see the stuff that happens in between. You don't see the sacrifices. You see, oh, well, they have a great house, or they have a neat car, and they have a great family and all this stuff. But you don't see what it took to get there. And I'm not tooting my own horn by no means. I'm very grateful for all that I have, but it did take work. And I think a lot of times in the social media age that we're in, it is one of those where it's like, okay, I want that and I want it now. And they're not, people are not willing to put the effort in or know that, hey, is there a calling there? Because that's the other part of it. Man, there's no way I would have ever existed in this if there hadn't been a blessing here, because it just, I can think back before we left from Colorado to Ohio, when I had done my prerequisites and all that. I was thinking, I had a great job. I was working for my father-in-law, which he has a very, very good practice for accounting. I was thinking, man, I could have just stayed here, bought the practice, been fairly wealthy and set up. I mean, an established accounting firm that had a lot of stuff. Yeah. And, it was a big thing to say, I'm moving. We don't have a job. We don't have, I have a 1-year-old. I'm newly married, all this stuff. I'm like, this was big.
Crazy.
I did not know what to expect. And to go 4 years in my, I'm in my late 20s, early 30s, because I went to school from 27. I was 27 years old to 31. I mean, when you look at your career earning potential, a lot of times your late 20s, early 30s is where you're really kicking into your career and you're finding it. I'm restarting it. I'm saying I give up a good salary to go do something. And I said, is this what God has for me? Is this what you want to do, Laura? Is this what you're willing to do for me or with me? And it was a lot of like, I don't know if this is the right thing, but I knew I knew it was the right thing,
Yeah.
but there was still that questioning. So yeah, there's always going to be sacrifice. I mean, it's not just going to be snap your fingers and bam, it's there. It's, hey, if you're willing to put it in. But I'll tell you, I truly believe that my story is what God will do for anybody if they just turn to him and say, I trust you. I trust you with my life. I trust you with my decisions. And I'm very grateful.
No question about it. I love it. Like, you're crazy. You know, to do what you did. That's what I love about it. You know, like, but I think one of the things you hit on there too is just having a call or just knowing what your purpose is. You know, like, because I
True.
could say the same thing for us. Like, there's been so many times over the years that we just look at this and go, Jamaica, like, what are we going through all of this for? You know, like, because it's not easy down there. You know,
No.
it's complicated, and I drug my family through it for years. You know, but when you know why, you know, when you can be reminded that this is a call, this is my purpose, those things seem less significant. And those voices in your ears about, well, you're crazy, what are you doing to your kids, what are you doing to your family, become less loud, you know. So
Well, and that's what I love about your story is that you
Mhm.
look at your two boys now that are graduated and seeing their success and seeing their desire. And I mean,
Yeah.
you opened up a door that, at time, like you said, people are on you and saying, well, man, why are you doing this to them? Or, where's your family unit? And
Mhm.
same with me. It's like, why are you going to move? My in-laws out here, they are very loving and caring. But it
Yeah.
was like, you got a 1-year-old, you're going to move to Ohio to do what? And it's like, man, you just got to go with it if you know that it's the call. And there is blessing there.
I'm
There
going
is
to show
blessing.
everybody a picture. How about that one?
Yeah, that's graduation. Yeah.
So there
Look
you
at
go.
that. All that curly hair.
All that sacrifice between between Midwest and West, Laura holding it together. You're having kids during school. It's just crazy. It's an amazing story, really, Ty. It's really fun. And this is my next to favorite picture of that is when I got to stand next to you.
Yeah, there you
You know,
go.
got a little scarlet gray on there. So, man, what a deal. You know, this is one's for Tom Tony if he ever watches. That's just God orchestrating your life. You know, like he's the great
True story.
maestro. You know, like running the show for us. So love it. So just going just going along here, the next thing that happens is, well, when you were in school, you started basically for us down here in Mission of Sight, the Fellowship of Christian Optometry program for the Ohio State University. Like, there wasn't even a
Well,
program, or was there a
no,
program
it
for
was
Christian?
going, but they didn't. So to know a little bit about kind of optometry schools and what they do, Vosh is the biggest organization that is student led that then sends people overseas.
Yeah.
And Vosh does a great thing. But my thought is that, man, there's 62 people that get into optometry school at Ohio State. They only accept 62. Now I don't mean to go off on a tangent here, but that's another God thing. There was
Yeah.
661. I might be wrong on that, but there were over 600 people that applied to optometry school. When I went to my interview, there was 4 people that were there, and me included. And everybody's talking about, well, did you apply here? Did you apply here? And I'm like, I only applied to Ohio State. There's nowhere else I want to go. I'm not going to move to another state. I'm going to be close to my family, my parents and everything. I said, I didn't realize you were supposed to apply other places. And everybody's applying to 4, 5, 6 different optometry schools. And come to find out, it's very difficult. They only take 10% of the people that are applied. And here I got in. So again, God.
We share the same story too, because I only applied to one too. I had the same thing. And I'm like,
yeah,
well, if I don't get in there, I don't know what I'm going to do, because that's where I got to go.
It never crossed my mind until I got the interview, because I was just like, nah, I'll get in. I got the numbers. I did fine. I got Doug writing a reference letter. I'm fine. I didn't realize that nobody knew who you. No, I'm just kidding.
Right. You did have some strong recommendations. You had Dr. Feltz, who we got to get on this show. Dr. Free.
Dr. Feltz, and I think one of my teachers. I didn't have Freeze. I think it was just Feltz, you, and one of my because I only needed 3, but yeah, God is good. Anyways, getting on to that, they did have an FCO program, and what I was referencing is that of the 62 people, the FCO program had I want to say 40 or 50 very active members. And so you think about that there's in total, about 200, a little over 200, and fourth year is pretty much gone.
Right.
You know, there's no fourth years on campus. So 3 classes, and there's like 50 to 60 people that would show up to FCO. It just made sense to me, especially with my passion for Jamaica, is like, man, does anybody want to go? Let's go. All you have to do is pay for airfare. I mean, it's very cheap once you get down there because we got places to stay, and we're optometry students. We should be seeing crazy stuff. And I mean, that's the funny thing is now they've changed their curriculum around where they're actually getting to see patients a lot sooner. But at first and second years, you weren't seeing your first patient until like halfway through second year. So we're going down green as green can be. And we're seeing some of the craziest stuff that Jamaica could throw at us. And that first trip, going back to school and like sharing all this stuff with all of our classmates, I think that's what lit the fire under everybody for all the future years. It's like, you got to go on that trip, because that trip you're going to see, like, you could just imagine, giving out glasses, which is great, but seeing patients in an exam room and actually getting the care. Because, you know, you had Ryan Court that came, that was actually a doctor at the time. So it was nice having older experience there. And that's something that you didn't always get, because it was more like, oh, I got to be afraid of my attending because they're going to grade me. Right. Here it's like, you got to jump in the fire because I got 5 other patients over here that have all these other problems. You just do, what would you do? What would you do? So.
And it's complex. It's big disease. I mean, it's big cataracts, big glaucoma, big pterygiums, big everything. So, you know, in that program that you started, so you really were the catalyst to the first FCO mission trip from Ohio State. And I know that they have come every single year since then. And I think this is year 8. And that they're coming
up. Yeah, because 2012 was the first year.
So year 8, there's like an 8.1 or 8.2 because
a couple people came separate.
Megan has come down a couple times. I don't know if she's going to be seeing this or not. I need to tag her in it, but I know Megan, and they are coming back down again with the team. And we just have this would be the first year we're going to do some Montego Bay action too. And so with the new clinic in Rose Hall.
Well, and that you hit on it. So Megan and Ethan, and then I believe Abigail.
Yes.
There's reach, not just in my little world. There's reach into other people's world that then they get to share all that you're doing and all that the Mission of Sight and professional eye care, everything that's going on down there. It really has branched out into, you know, other world. And, you know, honestly too, like getting trips to come down, and I'm not saying anything necessarily special about that first trip because it was a bunch of students that were green, but you think from there, you got other schools involved. And through that, wasn't that part of how you got Nick? I mean, he came down on a trip. So it touches people in a certain way that if it would have never started, I mean, granted, something maybe could have came along, but it's amazing to think that, hey, you were game with somebody that you knew with me and saying, well, yeah, bring down 8 people. Let's see what we can do. Because there's no program. There's no structure. There was nothing that, you know, there was nothing that was like, okay, what are we going to do with these kids when they come down here? Like, you know, it's like, hey, throw them in the fire. So, and from that, that's how now we have organizations coming and being partnered with people. And like I said, being blessed with Dr. Nick saying, hey, this really stirred up a passion in me. And that's what it's all worth.
Yeah, I can't wait for Nick to be on. And he's got a great story about how FCO in his trip and how it all panned out. Like him just sitting there, he's like, hey, are you guys Mission of Sight? Like people were actually looking at us, and he didn't even know when he got there. I'm like, I'm in a lot of trouble then, you know? So it was through his SCO trip that he made the decision over the year to come back and serve with us. And they're on year 2. They're amazing.
Awesome.
Kids calling you Mr. Ty and everything else. So, for giving away during school, you're doing it now as a board member for Mission of Sight, which it's so good to have you on that board in your experience. But then you go ahead and you decide to get registered as a doctor of optometry. Jamaica, right? Because you are one of our registered doctors. So anybody that's maybe watching Professional Eye Care page right now in Jamaica, you know, we're talking to Dr. Clase, and I know a lot of people have seen you. You've done a lot of post-op care for cataracts. You've done a lot of clinic fill. Always huge for me to fill in those gaps. Like those times, well, I'm just going to shout out for Ty on this, is that there's times like when I'm down here and I've got to be with my family, or I just can't be here. And Ty has always been there for me personally. You've always been there for me, Ty, to say, hey, I'm definitely, I'll step in the game for us, And yeah, everybody should follow you. And even though you're not a social media guy, or send your friend requests, but
I'm the worst person to follow.
but you've been huge for that. And we're just honored to have you on our panel of doctors here.
Grateful.
And,
grateful.
It's just awesome. So you are a Jamaican, you're an international optometrist, Jamaica, Colorado, Ohio, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Man.
I haven't practiced in Ohio since I left, but I still have my license.
Well, you still got to have it. So here we to get us towards a little closure, though, there's still a lot of your story left, because like when you would step in for us and fill in for a week or 2 weeks, 10-day trips, you do regularly. I mean, you're doing those 4 times a year even now, or so. And the thing I remember was that you were telling me, we were talking about when you came out, like you knew you were going back to Colorado. I'm pretty sure Colorado. I'm sorry, not Otto. It's Otto. It's Addo, right? Colorado. And as much as that broke all of our hearts in Ohio, we understood, that was your movement. But I do remember us talking and having some conversations about like, what would the practice look like for you? What would it be? I thought, if I remember right, you can confirm, but I thought we talked about it and we even kind of prayed about it. Like maybe that would show up. Tell me what, give everybody that little bit of story, because that's another God story.
Oh man, that's even a bigger God story. So one thing about Colorado is that it is a very sought after place. And really when I was getting out of school in 15, since 2011, I think that they've gained on average 70 to 100,000 people a year in population in Colorado. So it's a very popular place. And many people throughout the US know that Colorado is a very beautiful place and people love to come vacation here, all that stuff. It is a very big draw. And of course, that means that a lot of people.
Is it just the mountains, though, that's the draw at that time?
Yeah,
legalized
some other things, maybe.
Yeah.
But people that want to do that and sit in the basement, I don't think they can afford like a $3,000 mortgage. So I don't,
Yeah.
But it is amazing how many people are moving here. But just like that, I mean, every profession then, they see, and I mean, we have several friends that from the Midwest and other places that they just love Colorado. They wanted to move out here. They like this style of living and all that. So when I moved back, there's always a question. It's like, well, is there going to be a job? Because I'll be honest, I looked at the job boards. I looked at everything, kind of junior year, senior year of optometry. And it's, it's just kind of, well, there's not much. There really is not a lot of openings because people fill them quick. And now that I am where I am, I realize that, I mean, when people graduate from optometry schools, especially like Western Coast optometry schools, there's hundreds of people, newly minted ODs, that are sending their resumes to Colorado. It's amazing. Just last year, I had 3 or 4 people that I spoke with just that were, hey, I'm not from there, but I want to move there. And it's like, it's the way it is. So, and in our profession, it's very small. It's a pretty small community. And I mean, out here, I don't know the numbers, maybe 2,000. I don't know if it's even that optometrists. So, you think about it, it's a fairly small community to have no turnover whatsoever. And again, this is a God thing. And it really is connected with, funny that we say this, a Jamaican posting. You were looking for an optometrist on the International Fellowship of Christian Optometry website. So their international website for like the main chapter, not just the student run thing. Right. One of my friends that actually was on the very first Jamaica trip, she said, hey, Ty, I was looking on there and I saw I saw Doug's posting, and right below that was a doctor in Wheat Ridge. Do you know where that is? And I was like, yeah, it's 5 minutes from where Laura and I had our house. So, I mean, it's like right around the corner. Yeah. And I had driven past this office. It's just a small, country house, and the doctor had converted it into an office. And wouldn't you know that when I graduated, I went out the weekend after my graduation and I met with the doctor. He's an older gentleman. since bought the practice this last year from him, but I've only worked there. I went right to work with him as soon as I got my license. And yeah, amazing. But yeah, it was right below your posting was this, hey, looking for a doctor that'll work 2 to 3 days a week and eventually buy the practice. And, you know, you and I, we talk about the God thing and how I look back on the sacrifice. And, you know, in some people's eyes, maybe it wasn't a sacrifice, but to me, it was to have my family, to have my kids born, you know, not being able to spend that time with them. And I remember you and I talking and you were like, so tell me a little bit about this. And here you go. The guy's like, well, I'll work Mondays for you because Mondays are nobody's favorite day. And I'll work Saturdays for you too. So you just work Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. That's fine, you know, to start. And I'm like, I love it. Right. Which you and I know, and anybody that's in optometry world would know that, man, new hires are Mondays, Saturdays, you know, bad hour, you know, not bad hours, but just, you know, they're taking the hours that the lead doc does not want because but you know, that's again, a God incidence. I see it right there on on the screen. He just blessed us because I was able to spend time with my family and see my kids and get to know my children and where I felt like I didn't know them.
Right. Because you were
4 years I was there.
You were a lot away. And I'm in that same boat. There's a lot of away time for the sacrifice. I do remember too, though, that he was really amiable to you being able to come to Jamaica during a time where we still need you to come to Jamaica. Like you,
because there was kind of a, you know, a hit or miss on, you know, we had doctors that came and went, or doctors that we had, you know, hired for something full time. But yeah, it was perfect timing because I mean, here I am fresh out of school. You would think that the doctor would want me all the time, but I said from the very get-go, I said, you know, honestly, the whole reason that I even wanted to become an eye doctor was because of Jamaica. You know, part of it was that mobile mission, but man, once I saw what you were doing down there, and those are the early days, but once I knew what the potential was for there, that's what really made me say, this is what I want to do. Cause I want to give, I want to minister, I want to be a blessing to people. And what better way than to have, you know, step into that ministry that you've instilled in Jamaica. So yeah, it's a great story and very grateful. And like you said, there's too many chances to just be happen chance or luck. It is pure God. But yeah, he opened the door and said, you go to Jamaica as much as you want, I'll cover for you. And then now the blessing of it is that here we are. I purchased the practice 6 months ago. He said, and you know, he's semi-retired. He's down to 1 day a week. He works for me, but he said, hey, if you want to go to Jamaica, if you know, Doug needs you. And have you even met him? I don't even know if you met him once.
No, but it'd be fun to on this trip since I'm out here, you know.
That's the crazy thing is that you haven't even met him, but he loves you. He's like, yeah, if Doug needs you, go down there. I believe in it. I love it. I'll work for you. I'll work the whole week. You take as much time as you want. If you want to go 2 weeks, I'll work for you. I'm like, excellent. Whatever, Doug, you can use me for, I'll do it. So.
You know, I just think that's God's favor on your life for
absolutely.
It's a dream, you know. Hey, there's Doug Wine, you know, he's a big player for our game back down in Jamaica.
Yeah.
And, he's got to get on the story too. But you have been so hey, big shout out to Doug Wine. He's out in Arizona now. And you know, his son-in-law went into optometry and they're practicing out there in Arizona. So awesome. Some great stories and he came down to Jamaica with Doug doing cataract stuff. So boy, I love your story, Ty. It was fun. I was here with the boys. You know, we're up here just killing it out on the slopes at Brekenridge, having the time of our life. It's such a fulfillment for us too. I mean, the blessing that we have to be able to come out here and kind of like hang out in the family condo, and just get that part into our life. It's stuff that we would have never experienced had it wouldn't been for you and how God brought you into our life. So we know we're family, and I'm so glad everybody got to hear the story and hear your story. And just to revisit it, for me, it's super cool, like to just think about all that's happened, man, for you. And I think the eye opener for me, though, right on this time, is that is really grasping the sacrifice and the dedication that you and Laura made to make this dream, this life come true for you guys.
Yeah.
So that was a little eye opener, but a lot of years ahead too, dude. You've only been out 5 years. Like I'm 25 years out. You got 20 more years. Can you imagine what the Lord's going to do with you over that time? I mean, it's going to be great.
The best is yet to come, as they say. The best is yet to come. It's amazing. Well, and I was mentioning that earlier. It's like you see the steps that it took to get here, and you just it's not done.
Yeah.
And I'm so pumped about the future, and whatever's thrown at us, we know we can overcome. And I'm grateful. I am grateful because looking back, I thought I was going to be in Marion working for my dad at the catering company for the rest of my life, and here I am, Colorado, Jamaica, Ohio. Just loving life to the fullest.
Living the dream, man. You could have been in Austria. I didn't realize that.
True. I could have taken that trip and had my first European experience and said, great, I saw where The Sound of Music was filmed. That's awesome. And went back to Marion. But, nothing bad. I love Marion. It's my home. I love it. Love it. But it's, again, sorry, I know we're getting close on time, but just the expansion that God has. I never in a million years would have thought this. I never foresaw myself this. And I think that's the great thing, that when you turn it over to him, he expands on it far and above. The scripture says, where it's like, exceedingly far and above any that we can ask or think. I mean, that's who God is. He is such a blessing to me and my life and my wife. Like you said, it couldn't be done without it. And I think when we put God first, that's the most important thing. So
Ken's saying you got to get your social media game.
I know.
Well, I have been running heritedvisionclinic.com down there. So anybody that's, if anybody's in Colorado or knows anybody in Colorado and you're in Denver, you do want to go to Ty Clase for your eye care. There's no question about it.
Wheat Ridge.
Yeah. Wheat Ridge. Is that what the name of the town is?
That's it, man. Wheat Ridge, Colorado, western suburb of Denver.
Love it. You got a great little spot there, great practice. There are so many parallels with your private practice inception as mine. I mean,
big time.
My Dr. Dreher is like your Dr.
Rogers. Dr. Rogers. Yeah.
Rogers. Yeah. And the flexibility, the ease of the transition in the practice. I mean, it's just good. And I'm so excited for you guys, and really appreciate you, Ty. And I'm really thankful that you came on to be on the show tonight, and
honored.
Taking the second spot. I don't know who's next. I don't know who the next somebody is, but we're working to keep this on Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. I know I got to do 52 of them, so I do have at least 52 names of people. So if any come to your mind, you can always give me a shout out on them. But please tell Laura how much we all love her and appreciate her.
Absolutely.
I got to see Chich and Addie. I mean, they got to be another 6 inches taller than when I saw them last time.
They are. Yeah.
How old is Chich? How old is Addie?
9 and 6, and 4th grade and 1st grade. And ornery as ever. And just, it's hard to believe that, I mean, thinking back all those years, 16 years, just having little Max and Griff on your porch in Jamaica. Here we are all these many years later, and kids of my own, practice of my own, man.
Well,
grateful. Grateful.
We're proud of you, Ty, and we're honored to call you one of us, and I just threw the call to recovery of sight back down on the bottom, because you truly are a man who is called to the recovery of sight. So keep up your great work. We're going to see each other all the time, me and you, but I'm just glad that people got to hear your side of the story. And you're part of our story for Jamaica, for Mission of Sight, Professional Eye Care, and for my family. I mean, your Uncle Ty. I mean, you've been all those years. I mean, I say your name and my boys smile. Anytime you say Ty or Uncle Ty, faces just light up. And Max particularly wonders where we're going next to ski.
I know. Any chance he gets to get out to Colorado.
Yeah.
I told him, hey, we got an extra room. He can come out anytime. He's on break or whatever.
I do want to talk to you about that. But that's a different story off the line. So
okay.
What we do at the end of the show is we just bring it back out. Ken's taught me that it's called the outro. I like to call it the endro, because it's not the intro anymore, but we're going to close it out. So For everybody that was out there watching tonight, we really want to thank you guys for watching. Share this when you see it. The point of this show is to share the story, and we know that it's happening this year. And so, Ty, thanks for sharing it. And if you got anything you want to say before we close out, let us know.
No, I just grateful that you thought of me, and man, I love the mission that Jamaica has, and we know that there's still more to be done. There's always more, and God's going to bless it. So that's it. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
See you now. Oh, I didn't do that.